yesterday's stream, we absolutely looked ridiculous. So we're going to take a day where you don't have to see me forget all the imagery you saw. And tomorrow, listen, tomorrow, we're going to look good. Welcome to another edition of X-Feed. As the title suggests, if you've not been on the timeline today, there's been some insane headlines that has got everybody's attention, and this is basically a day after crypto really started to pick up some steam. Is this a coordinated FUD effort? Is this just good timing? Are people aware and paying attention to what's going on in crypto? All things Web3, NFT, crypto, yada, yada, yada. We're here talking about it. Thank you so much for joining me. So, Larry Fink talking a little bit about tokenization. Sit back and enjoy.
We believe the next step going forward will be the tokenization of financial assets. And that means every stock, every bond will have its own, basically, CUSIP. It'll be on one general ledger. Every investor, you and I, will have our own number, our own identification. We could rid ourselves of all issues around illicit activities about bonds and stocks and digital by having a tokenization. But the most importantly thing, we could customize strategies through tokenization that fits every individual. We would have instantaneous settlement. Think about all the costs of settling bonds and stock. But if you had a tokenization, everything would be immediate because it's just a line item. And so we believe this is a technological transformation for financial assets. If you want to talk about voting and voting choice and all the things, if we know every moment who is the owner of that stock and it's now time to vote, every individual who has ownership is identified and they can vote their own shares.
I'm just saying, the question now is, where do all these tokens live? On exactly what blockchain? Maybe it's Abstract. Now, Abstract came out a while ago, and there was, I'm forgetting what the exact name of it was, but there was a application that came out and said, hey, if you are a part of this, if you're active on Ethereum, you get involved, there's going to be like an airdrop of some sort down the line. And then I believe Abstract ended up purchasing that, and now we're not really sure what's going on with it. But Abstract connected to Igloo Inc., Pudgy Penguins, trying to do some things. But the wallet is what we're going to highlight here. So Abstract Global Wallet is the fix to onboard consumers, okay? We like saying that, but why? And how many other wallets have something that is similar to this or coming out in their own fashion? With any current wallet, the problems we have are remembering tons of passwords, managing browser extensions, different wallets for different places. With the Abstract Global Wallet, sign up using things you already know like email, which, okay, no secret words needed to remember your details, and paying for anything is super easy. Okay, so I feel like a lot of the newer wallets kind of have something similar, so I'm not exactly sold on this yet, but we'll keep an eye on Abstract as we move along here. Okay, so Abstract is doing its own chain. It's part of Igloo, Pudgy Penguins, as we mentioned. But ApeChain, it came out. It was based off of like the ApeCoin DAO, but then you almost forget in a way that Yuga's also working with Somnia to launch the other side through their blockchain, which they're saying now they can create 400,000 transactions per second, which is crazy if that's the case. But I remember all the talk about Somnia Network happening like a month ago, and as soon as ApeChain came out, the talk around it just like completely stopped. So if you're wanting to follow that, be sure to go check it out. But Immutable, again, with their hundreds and hundreds of games coming out, just wanted to show one of the ones that popped up on my timeline to get your sense of, hey, do you think this is a game you would play? Kind of almost has like a Guild Wars 2 type vibe, which is like with the extra animations and kind of the MMO setting, but I don't know if it's like a whole lot more than that. Mr. Harry freaking Swan. Good morning, sir. How are we? Have you purchased any Pokemons lately, good sir? We say Pokemon, is that weird? What about Digimon? I'm trying to think. Listen, if I'm somebody in the Web3 space and I'm trying to get attention, you know what I'm going for? I'm going to try to buy the rights for Digimon. Mirov was out at ApeFest and just showed kind of a quick highlight video of some of the different things that they got from there. So the different Made by Apes Collectibles. I think that was the BMW driver's license plate, license card, a whole bunch of stickers because that's what apes do, and just some other stuffs including merch. So thought I would just highlight that super quickly. You got a big box coming next week. Holy smokes. How much did you spend on it, good sir? How much did you spend on it? Okay, so I saw this post and it was about Zagabon from Mizuki talking about the Web3 community, and I want to put this in a completely different light for you, if I may. So the post says, sentiment around NFTs have officially hit an all-time low. Generally speaking, true. Your favorite creators who are once NFT maxis are now doubting it. True. Here's a reminder from my pod with Zagabond on what makes NFTs a superior tool to building internet communities. So let's see what he has to say.
What is great about NFTs and what is special kind of superpower of NFTs? Well, it's in curating a really strong community as their digital identity, right, sort of tied with the NFT. And if you meet someone and you guys both have an NFT in the same collection, immediately there's that connection, that bond, right?
True.
You can talk about the trace,
True.
you can talk about why you guys joined. And that's what we're looking for in this day and age where, more and more things are going digital, right? How can we have more?
Okay, so I listened to this, right? And I was like, damn, like this just kind of feels exactly like a sports team fandom, right? Like dead ass. You go, you see somebody using Harry Swan as an example, you see another fellow Utah Jazz fan, especially out somewhere that's not Utah, you're like, all right, what's going on, my Brumachowski? You know what I'm saying? So it's funny to think about and watching, especially if you're following any sports-related accounts. Usually there's a ton of banter with other sports teams out there, and that's actually the exact same within the NFT space, but we don't really realize it because there's so much of a financial perspective that I think kind of blinds everybody to what exactly is going on. So I'm just saying, NFT is basically the same as sports teams. True. It's the Terrapagos Ultra Premium Collection box. It was like $100. Comes with 18 packs and some other goodies like a playmat. Yo, listen, we got to have a good playmat. Okay, so Whale.Swoosh did this battle of the NFT marketplace that's colorized. And whoa, sorry, your ears are probably broken there. Apologies. But you can see the CryptoPunks.app was basically like the only thing for a while. Looks Rare comes, oh my goodness. Okay, so we need to like walk through this. So OpenSea, as we've talked about forever, they raised insane amounts of money at insane amounts of valuations, and they were just like the kingpin of all things. And so Looks Rare comes out and says, hey, we're dropping a token. At the same time, everybody's clamoring for OpenSea to do more rewards because they basically done nothing of the sort except for some random NFT drop at one point that actually wasn't for anything, so it was kind of stupid, but they try to, save face, whatever it is with it. So Look Rare comes out. And this is when a couple of marketplaces start entering the space. And this, again, is when the market's still heating up. X2Y2 joins the race, and there's conversations and whatnot around royalties. And these platforms need people to go and list their NFTs. So the cool thing to do, or maybe not cool thing, it's not presented the right way, but the thing to do at the time was giving out rewards for people that listed higher valued items. So it actually propped up the market a little bit because people were trying to list to get these more points, and they thought the points are going to be worth a lot, and so there was more listings, and sometimes they didn't even want to necessarily sell, so they would sell and then hopefully rebuy back a little bit, or take the $100, $200, $300 hit, and if there was enough volume for it, that was kind of what they did. And so CryptoPunk apps, I guess, at one point takes off there, but then Blur really does it. And you can see here, all X2, Y2, and Looks Rare really never took off. Like, it got decent amount of traction, right? Like respectfully, but comparatively to OpenSea, it didn't really get anything. But then you see Blur here, who nailed that incentive reward mechanic, and it just shot. You can see it was in the lead, and then it basically just kind of took over because OpenSea didn't have any kind of reward structure. But then OpenSea, just because of the notoriety, I think people like the UX. Magic Eden then comes in after we have a whole bunch of so first I think it pretty much started with Solana, and then it branched out to doing things on Bitcoin ordinals, and then we just started realizing, okay, Magic Eden is going to be the marketplace for pretty much everything. As recently it's gotten ApeChain that's on there, and there was another component. I know they did the diamond rewards as well, but during the Blur mania, which is arguably we're still kind of in, but way less so comparatively, people just knew that Blur was going to have the value, and there was way less speculation around Magic Eden. So just seeing these charts, it's pretty crazy, and I guess that's where we are now, right at the end, where Blur is still dominant. Magic Eden's kind of around. I don't use Magic Eden for everything, but arguably also the NFT sales in general are a little bit down. But when you look at the Blur and OpenSea, it's still doing pretty all right. So really cool visual there from whale.mocha. Now, yesterday I did launch the Third Kingdom guide. So if you guys are wanting 5 minutes of an update of how to play, if you happen to download the game and try during the beta, even if you didn't have any assets whatsoever, you got some free goodies, which is always nice to see. Would love for you to check that out. And Boomer coming on through with a 15.
Looks like I remembered to give you my Amazon Prime sub 15 times ROFL.
Yo, 15 times, my man. Yo, a little bit of Raffle Copter in as well. Thank you so much. Appreciate appreciate it, Boomer. Listen, I saw that you changed your profile on X. Listen, are we back? It's Jack Butcher, right? That's the artist. What happened? Because I feel like there was the checks, there was all these different pieces, and I haven't just seen it on my timeline. I don't know if it's just a me thing, but what I have seen on my timeline is everybody talking about Bitcoin and it hitting insane prices within their own currency, whether it be Australian. One of the Canadian exchange highlighting that Bitcoin has hit 100,000 Canadian. Oh my goodness! And I think today also we saw that like Ethereum started taking a little bit of a rip as well, and there was like what $100 million in liquidations the other day as well. So if we just look at the morning, where's the morning here? Because everybody's screaming that ETH was mooning. So is that 2,600 and then it went to like 2718. Yo, why was everybody screaming that Ethereum was moving today? It's just crazy. Hey man, what do you think of the WGC Wild Goat coin? I have not heard of that, but it sounds almost like a poker coin. Is that right? Is that brutally wrong? I got no idea. Boomer, I did a vote. They selected. I changed. Simple as that, to be honest. Okay, fair. It does look cool. And also, listen, not to brag about the status or anything. Listen, it does show that the boys got a little bit of cash on the side. You know what I mean? Those things are expensive. Because that's like what? One of tens, or is it one of 100s? Or is it a one of one? I remember those early days, and I remember the Pudgy Penguin collab and a couple of the other ones. I need to look back, but I remember Jack Butcher collabs being one of like the best things within the space. One of 80. Yeah, listen, that's one. Listen, one of 80, one of 10, one of 1. It's all semantics. You know what I'm saying? Fitch from Parallel saying the real marketing for Parallel begins with mobile. Everything else has effectively been a test. And what's kind of weird about this is it's like, how many games are going out and doing mobile right now? I mean, there's a ton of games in general out there, but there has been a lot of talk about mobile. I feel, generally speaking, I mean, Dookie Dash was one of the main breakthrough. It's weird when you think about like Yuga, right? Because not everybody's into Yuga, but they've consistently done things that have gotten attention, whether you've liked it or not. And so for Parallel here, if they get into mobile, if they branch out in the space, I think that's very, very exciting. Check it out on CoinGecko, sir. It's super bullish. Listen, you got to give me a little bit more details. Why is it bullish? Why is it bullish? But speaking of apes, Mr. Garga saying, few days of ApeChain on Magic Eden, 2.8 million USD traded, 25,000 ApeChain sessions on Mint Terminal, 50,000 active users, and 25,000 transacting users, with a 50% conversion rate on active users becoming transacting users. This makes me think of NBA Top Shot. If you remember way back in the day, there was posts from Bohan that were talking about how, I want to say it was like 86 to 94 retention rate for people checking in the marketplace every day. And I don't even think this is when the site had a lot of moments. This was like early. And it's crazy to think about how addicting that it was. So, Boomer, this is actually one of the things you highlighted for me, and I saw as well this morning. And this is from yesterday, but it's from Inhuman. It says, it's noon in the US and my off-the-grid queues are 6 minutes long, plus only half filling with players. There's also still cheaters online. I still see people posting transaction metrics on here like it actually matters. You do not actually play the games, and I know it. So again, all this conversation around off the grid, don't have a whole lot to comment other than I tried it. It was all right. I don't know if it's different enough to really garnish new players. And then, of course, the one and only Call of Duty releasing their second variations of a game every year, I think they only do it like once a year now. But either way, Call of Duty comes around, gets half the player base. And the question is, okay, can off the grid sustain when a lot of that's kind of taken away? If that makes sense. Just in total, spot Bitcoin ETF trading volume surpasses 4.5 billion today. These are some pretty gnarly headlines, right? Like, ApeChain's doing numbers. We have the Bitcoin ETF trading going crazy. BlackRock, 3.3 billion, right? That's right. No, that's wait. Yeah, 3.3 million, 500,000. No, it's 3 billion. Yo, is it actually 3 billion? I'm looking at this and I'm like, that's a lot of cake, baby. Holy smokes. Hashtags over here. So we have 3.3 billion, and then $58,000. Yo, talk about being a small fisheroonie. That's actually insane when you're doing the comparison between the two of them. So Deadfellas, they also highlighted a little bit earlier today where if you want to buy merch from them, they are doing that. But they've highlighted their trading card game, which I guess they're calling Death Touch. Previously was called RIP, and they're labeling it the genre, defining it's going to be on Scale Network. Scale Network apparently just partnered with Atari, which I feel like Atari's done a lot of things within the space, but it's not been like super notable apart from the Atari name itself. I do think it's cool that we have like a trading card game that might have a little bit more to it, but at the same time, you kind of look at this and you're like, all right, well, Axie Infinity was also like a trading card game in a way, but a little bit different because this is showing that the game's going to be played with like characters, almost like when you saw the Harry Potter chest in the first movie of Harry Potter, right? It looks it looks kind of similar to what's going on with that. So tomorrow, if you guys are hanging out early in the morning, Segment is doing a Halloween scavenger hunt for segment keys for rare and luxury wine from the vaults from Cantinium and Divin Labs. So again, if you're out and about, if you want to set notifications on for my account, I'll be there. I'm probably talking on the space and I'll try to share it at the time. But tomorrow, early, if you're wanting to win some prizes, that is where you can. So Captain Trippy made this post, and you know, I don't mean any ill will when I say this, but it's like we went from like, oh, we're here for the art, oh, we like these things, oh, we want to have like sustainability, to now just like only talking about, okay, like this is profitable, you want to get in that trade. And I just think it's funny the kind of narrative shifts once things like are starting to pick up back up a little bit. So the value of an ape. Bored Apes were whitelisted for the Folds drop today by left click buy NFT. You could mint 5 per wallet at a price of 6.9 ape. If you max minted and held, you would have already been up 20x and $700 US, and you would be the proud owner of this art on ApeChain. And I listen, phenomenal. Love to see people are doing well, but it's just it's funny. It's all kind of resorting back to the multiples. Short Bitcoin, long wild goat coin. That's the trade, sir. Legends will be made. Plebs will FOMO. True. Now, we're hoping the plebs will FOMO in terms of like everybody within like the gaming industry that used to absolutely crap on NFTs, but then suddenly are starting to like them. So this is Shroud playing off the grid, and this is just kind of one of the combos that he had with somebody on here. So what exactly did they have to say?
And then when the full launch of the game comes out, that's when the marketplace will really start to shift, because that's when you'll actually...
So if I buy 100 tap lines now, when they launch in the future, I'll have 100 tap lines to sell?
Yes. If we just keep buying the guns, we keep buying the guns, we keep buying the guns, we launch, and we could just be the gun dealer when the game comes out.
Yeah, that's definitely good.
And then when...
And so again, this is kind of like the whole concept around hoarding something, right? Like, I mean, think of different Magic the Gathering or Pokemon cards where people went out and said, hey, we're going to buy a whole bunch of this card, hopefully like try to inflate the price. A lot of times that ends up not working, but that's basically what they're hinting at here. And yo, Ali, thank you so much for the subscription on YouTube. Hope you're doing well, and welcome to the stream. Ben Kaufman, LOL, remember that time Germany sold all their Bitcoin for paper they literally print out themselves? All right, that was kind of funny, to be honest. Okay, so back to the stream headline of today. We have crypto that's in like a positive sentiment, right? And you think, all right, what can bring it down? Well, all the bad things in the industry is kind of continually to be plagued with. Cointelegraph, breaking, Mr. Beast investigated for ties to 50 plus crypto wallets linked to potential insider trading, netting over $23 million in total profit. So on the stream, you've been a long-time listener. If you happen to be daily, again, thank you so much. But we've brought up videos where Gary V, Logan Paul, and a bunch of other celebrities were really hyping up CryptoPunks on the early days. And you're like, okay, there seems to be this kind of celebrity circle. And at surface value, you're like, okay, like you're making a big bet on CryptoPunks. But then there was some audio and whatnot that was leaked apart from this that is pretty damn damning. And we might play that specific clip yesterday, but this is the original article that came out and why Cointelegraph tweeted this and why it's talk on the town. So Casper Vanderlock said an investigation into Mr. Beast's crypto activities and how he profited over $23 million from a multitude of scams, shady deals, and his network in collaboration with several other individuals. Now, this... I don't know if it had like a ton of effect on the different tokens that were associated with this, because some of them are like seriously pretty big, and like they got clips of him saying like, I bought this one back. I mean, like crypto, like a hoodie CryptoPunk, this one for like 50 ETH. Like, I mean, it's still like a steal looking at it from right now, but VFriends, and all these like crazy links and like so Superverse and so a couple of YouTubers and like the likes of Alex Becker and Elio Trades get brought up in this because they're a part of Superverse, and this just goes on and on and on, and like I don't like it's probably like completely true. Obviously, they got everything here, but it's just wild that we have the positive crypto sentiment, and then all of a sudden, all these news headlines come out. Like, is that not crazy? And so here's another one. I reached out to Michael Bohan in Sotheby's asking for confirmation of Michael's affiliation with band. So who the hell is this Michael guy? He's apparently the VP and head of digital art and contemporary art at Sotheby's, which is a huge auction house that's had a ton of different NFTs sold there, but obviously it's just like your traditional art house. While neither responded, Michael apparently talked to Crypto News, calling the insider trading allegations detailed below false and defamatory. Michael told Crypto News these allegations are false, and I'll be sending some comments soon. That was 2 days ago. I have yet to see any further comments from him to provide any further clarity on the association with BAM. And so this is like a quote post to somebody highlighting that they sold this and made like $1 million on like an insider wallet. And I'm just like, man, it's just pounding the table of things. And then of course we see this, which so there's like crypto or awards every year, and this individual won like key KOL of like the year, which is like key opinion leader, and nobody had heard of who this is. All the content was like completely botted, and everybody was just how the hell does this person win? And I'm like, why is our industry plagued the way it is? And then Woodsnigel says, it looks like we have our first scam project on ApeChain. Well, we highlighted the other day a whole bunch of kind of fishy business. Hype was created, the mint price was set high, fake offers were made, all for apes that could be created in seconds using the Niji model from Midjourney. And so what exactly are they talking about? And I guess it is this Ape C, which we brought up yesterday, and I was like, okay, they're making these apes off of these different people. It kind of's got the vibe of like the AI generation for it. I guess the collection is trying to mint for $427,000, which people are saying that seems way more expensive than we would have thought. And so out of the 10,000, only 555 of them have been minted, charging $42 for them. Yeah, just listen. Oh, man, oh, man. Now, on some maybe more positive light, if you will, the U.S. Treasury shares a report on digital assets and the Treasury market. And so within this, it says key potential benefits of tokenizing U.S. Treasuries. Improvements in clearing and settlement, improved collateral management, improved transparency and accountability, composability and innovation, increased inclusion and demand, increased liquidity. So positive headlines coming out a fair bit, not too bad. So check it out, NFTevening.com. They posted this article 2 days ago. State of 2024 NFT drops. This is going to absolutely blow your mind. Or you'll be like, yeah, I knew that. 98% of 2024 NFT drops are dead. Only 0.2% of the 2024 NFT drop return profits to investors. 64% of 2024 NFT drops have fewer than 10 mints. 98% of 2024 NFT drops have fewer than 10 trades in the first week. In 98% of 2024 NFT drops, the price falls by at least 50% within the first 3 days. 84% of 2024 NFT drops have all-time price equal to mint. So there's nothing really new with that, right? Because I feel like we could go from like year to year apart from like 2021 and say kind of the same thing. But this just highlights when we're looking at the collections that have a treasury that are still doing something. I hated the narrative. At the start of the year, if you forget, people said, oh, all these like old NFTs are dead. I'm like, okay, maybe there's a certain part of them, but you have to think of how many are still doing something, how hard it is to convince new people that there's actually something there, apart from just that initial flip. Everybody is only buying these things because they think, there's an opportunity to flip it instantly. That's it. That's literally it. Okay, so Ubisoft is continuing to get slashed on the headlines as well. We covered the Champions Tactics a little bit, but look at this headline. Ubisoft dumps its NFT game on the market to little fanfare. Champions Tactics Grimoria Chronicles looks like a decent strategy game, but is marred by the unwashed stink of blockchain chicanery. What the hell is that word? Ubisoft has quietly released its own NFT game to join ranks of other vaunted, widely played blockchain titles like Axie Infinity and Embersword. Embersword. It's interesting that we pick like these two of all the games you could potentially pick. Champions Tactics Grimoria Chronicles launched earlier this month with relatively little fanfare or marketing. The game comes 2 years after Ubisoft's failed bid to make NFTs work in Ghost Recon Breakpoint, a solid 3 years after NFT prices and purchases fell off a cliff. And barely a week after it announced it would disband the team behind the critically acclaimed Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. Now, I'm not going to go through this entire thing because it is kind of like a hit piece, but it's always interesting when they like pick Embersword. Like, why would you pick Axie Infinity and Embersword of like the two collections to highlight anything NFT related, right? And then we talk about the previous failures of things, but then also we think of the headlines and we look at what's happened over the past few days. We're like, things are happening, but at the same time, like everything is just marred with bad negative press. And so you think we're doing all right, but I would argue that I'm not sure. And I'm very curious what like the retail crowd's going to do, because we've seen acceptance within Off the Grid, but now Off the Grid seems like it's sliding a little bit. That's instantly gone. And does that then get perceived in a bad way, where Parallel is trying to fight the good fight? They got more esports coming up. They have their AI Wayfinder starting to kick up as well. I don't know. I just think it's interesting how much we have flippy floppy between everything within Space Greed Index. We're at 67, way in the greed. We're looking at the 24-hour biggest performers, 12% for Maker, Chainlink doing well, DYDX. It's one of the platforms we're able to like leverage trade on. Mantra, Lido, Say, having a little bit of a bid after dumping pretty hard. Uniswap, Aave, some DeFi protocols. Wow. Things are happening. It's exciting, but it's also with Bitcoin at 58.88% dominance. People are saying that alt season's coming eventually, but I think Bitcoin probably moves first. That's going to be it for this edition of XFeed. Look at the headlines. Look at the excitement. Look at that like button if you've enjoyed this. Thank you so much. I'll be back tomorrow live and in person.